Hello and welcome to the 1981 Science Quiz. Throughout the autumn, eliminating rounds have been taking place in both Jersey and Guernsey. Now just 4 teams remain. Tonight we'll see the first semi-final between Jersey's De La Salle College and the Girls' Grammar School from Guernsey. So let's meet the teams. For De La Salle in Jersey, reading left to right, Gregory Powell, Zoltan Polo and Carl Marira. And from the Guernsey Grammar School for Girls, Catherine Holland, Sally Webb and Kerry Boscher. Before we begin, a word about the format of the quiz. The opening round is one of specialist questions to individual team members with 5 questions for each contestant. There are 2 points for answer and 1 point for an answer which is partially correct. After those specialist rounds, we move to general rounds where failure to answer by a member of one team may lead to a bonus point for his or her opposite number on the other side. Now, 8 seconds are allowed to answer the question, after which time you'll hear. To ensure fair play, we have Tom and Helen Lisher, the question masters, in the studio, and they'll act as adjudicators and timekeepers. So without any more ado, let's get on with the quiz. The teams tossed and the girls won and very wisely decided that the boys should go first. So we start with Gregory Powell. Gregory, your specialist round is on atomic physics. Your first question, what do workers who handle radioactive materials wear on a lapel?
Geiger counter.
No, not the answer. The answer is in fact a film badge to monitor radiation. Your second question, what is the process which produces power in the hydrogen bomb?
The fusion.
Yes, that's the answer we were looking for. Thirdly, what is a dirty bomb?
One which causes a lot of damage, but others have radiation which kills more people and doesn't cause so much damage.
No, in fact, that's not what we were looking for. It is, in fact, one which produces a lot of fallout. Name one type of particle which would leave a spiral-shaped path in a cloud chamber.
Electron.
Yes, or you could have said a proton. And lastly for you, Gregory, why did Apollo 12 take a supply of radioisotope to the moon?
So they could leave an experiment.
Yes, that's good enough. It was in fact an experiment to produce heat to generate electricity. Catherine from Girls' Grammar, we start now on your specialist round, which is nutrition. Your first question, proteins contain the elements carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. Name another element that would be present.
Sulfur.
Yes, or nitrogen. Secondly, roughage consists largely of the cellulose in plant cell walls. What results from the absence of roughage?
Constipation.
That's right. Thirdly, if milk were the sole item in an adult's diet, it would be satisfactory because of its high water content. Why else would it be unsatisfactory?
Because there aren't enough carbohydrates.
No, that's not the answer. It would be, in fact, because it lacks iron. Fourth for you, which has the higher calorific value, carbohydrates or fats?
Fats.
That's right. And lastly, which mineral salt present in the food is required for making hemoglobin?
Iron.
That's right. Zoltan Polo from De La Salle, your specialist round is on chemistry of non-metals. And your first question, which element is contained in all acids?
Hydrogen.
That's right. Which gas that smells like wet nappies, not very nice, is important for making nitric acid and fertilizers?
Nitrogen.
No, ammonia is the answer. Thirdly, if wood is heated in the absence of air, which element is left?
Carbon.
That's right. And which non-metallic element can form rhombic or monoclinic crystals depending on temperature?
Sulfur.
That's right. And lastly for you, give 2 physical properties characteristic of non-metal elements.
They form acids and... Would you repeat the question? I'm trying to think.
The question was, give 2 physical properties characteristic of non-metal elements.
Physical properties. They form acids and readily turn into gases.
You can have
Nitrogen
1 point
gases.
because you could have had many are gases. You could have also had that they have low melting point, low boiling point. They don't conduct electricity and poor conductors of heat and brittle. Sally Webb from Girls' Grammar, your specialist round is on classification. And your first question, what do we call the science of classifying organisms into groups?
Don't know.
taxonomy is the answer. Who originated the present scheme for classification?
Darwin.
No, Linnaeus was the answer. Into which major group would you classify this animal? And there's a slide now coming up on the monitor. You can have a look at it.
Protozoa.
Can you say that a bit louder, please?
Protozoa.
That's right, protozoa or protista. 4-3 for you. Which class contains woodlice, crabs and daphnia?
Crustacea.
That's right, class Crustacea. And lastly for you, we want you to name the odd one out of these. Fern, buttercup or horsetail?
Buttercup.
Can you tell me why?
Because it belongs in the spermatophyte group.
Yes, we'll give you your points for that because in fact, to put it simply, it's the only flowering and seed-producing plant. Right, our last specialist round for the boys goes to Carl Morea. And your first question on our specialist round, low-temperature physics, is this. Name the main industrial user of liquid oxygen in the United Kingdom.
For combustion, they use it in industry for combustion to higher temperatures, and for hardening steel, iron, steel.
Well, we give you that. At the end, you identified what we wanted. It is, of course, quite simply the steel industry. Secondly, what is the boiling point of liquid oxygen?
Boiling point of liquid oxygen, 90 degrees Kelvin.
Can you say that again?
90 degrees Kelvin.
Well, we give you that, say the adjudicators. We were looking for it actually in degrees centigrade. It's 183 degrees centigrade, but we give it to you. Thirdly, lead exhibits the property of superconductivity in liquid helium. To demonstrate this property, a current is caused to flow around a lead ring. How does the scientist know the current is flowing?
Well, if he places a compass out near the thing, the compass will swing and be attracted to it because the current will induce it.
That's right. It'll deflect a compass needle, quite simply. Fourthly, how does the kinetic theory describe the behaviour of gas particles at absolute zero?
There will be no movement at all.
They're stationary. And lastly for you, in which year was helium liquefied for the first time?
1908.
That's right. A good round for you. Kerry Boscher, grammar. Your specialist round is the human endocrine system. Question, what is the general name for chemicals secreted by the endocrine glands?
Hormones.
Correct. Secondly, which gland is referred to as the master gland?
Pituitary.
That's right. Where are adrenal glands situated?
Above the kidneys.
The lack of which hormone causes diabetes?
Insulin.
And lastly, name the hormone that has produced remarkable cures for arthritis and fibrositis.
Cortisone.
Absolutely right. Well, that's the end of round one on specialist subjects. We take a look at the scoreboard, and there really isn't very much in it. De La Salle on 23, but girls' grammar in the lead on 24. We're to round two, which is called British Animal Wildlife. Now remember, all of you, an incorrect answer away to your opposite number to earn a bonus point. As usual, we start with Gregory from De La Salle. On British Animal Wildlife, name the mammal which forms interconnected burrows, collectively called a set.
A badger.
That's correct. Catherine, to you. Which mammals had their numbers drastically reduced by an introduced disease?
Rabbit.
That's right. Zoltan. There are about a dozen species of this mammal in Britain, and they can be found in caves and they hibernate. Name the mammal.
Bats.
That's right. Sally. Which British bird obtains its food by drilling holes in the bark of trees?
Woodpeckers.
That's right. Carl, name the amphibian whose numbers have been drastically reduced due to pollution and the reduction in the number of ponds.
Frog.
That's right. And lastly, Kerry, what is the most common and widespread surface feeding duck? I thought we were going to get through the whole round without bonuses, but Carl, can you manage it for a bonus point?
Could you repeat the question, please?
Yes, the question is, what is the most common and widespread surface-feeding duck? Have to hurry you now because it's a bonus point. No, no luck. Well, the answer is, in fact, the mallard. So at the end of the wildlife round, it's still only 1 point in it. You've gone up equally. Girls' Grammar 28. De La Salle now in the lead. Things have swapped over on 29. On to round 3, and a slight change in that this year we'll be showing a piece of videotape and then asking you questions relating to the pictures which you'll see on the monitor. In this round we'll ask all 3 members of one team a question each before moving on to the other team. So here we go with the first piece of tape, and watch carefully, De La Salle, because this is for you. It's all about a power station. One final note, there are no bonus points on this round. Boys of De La Salle will have recognised Jersey's power station. Gregory, to start with you, what fuel is used to generate the electricity?
No.
The answer is heavy or fuel oil. Zoltan, what happens in the turbine?
The turbine is the part which is driven round by the steam created from the burning of coal and the boiling of water, and it directly couples to the generator. It is the part which is driven round by the steam.
Well, that's what we wanted. The steam, in fact, strikes the blades, causing them to turn. And Carl, for you, on the subject, what is the purpose of the condenser?
It's to change the gas back into a liquid so that it can repeat the cycle.
That's right, to change, in fact, the exhaust steam to water so that it can be used again. OK, well done on that. Now for Girls' Grammar. It's also about a power station, this videotape, so watch carefully. Here it comes. Girls, you would have recognised Vale Power Station. Catherine, I want to ask you firstly, what fuel is used to generate the electricity there?
Oil.
No, the answer we were looking for diesel fuel, in fact. Sally, where is the fuel burnt in a diesel engine?
Don't know.
Well, the answer is, in fact, cylinder. And Kerry, for you, on the same subject, what is the frequency of the voltage generated?
Don't know.
The answer is 50 hertz. Well, at the end of the visual round, we can see, by looking at the scoreboard, that De La Salle have crept ahead now onto 33 points, Girls' Grammar at 28. We move on to round number 4. This is called Plant Life Along the Sea Coast, and once more bonus points are available, remember that. Gregory, we start with you. Name the pink flower common to cliff tops.
The lily.
No, a bonus point possibly for Catherine.
I'm afraid I don't know.
The answer is thrift. Catherine, we stay with you because it's your question next. Which group of plant-like organisms may be found growing on the rocks at the seaside?
Lichen.
Yes, that's right. Lichens, I think, is the name, but we know what you mean anyway. Zoltan, to you, name the grass typical of sand dunes.
Reeds.
No, that's not the answer we were looking for. Sally, can you handle it?
Tuft.
No, we were looking for marram grass or sand couch grass. Sally, it is your question, though, now. Is coral weed a red, brown or green seaweed?
Brown.
No, a bonus point possibly for Zoltan.
Red.
Red is the answer we were looking for. Carl, it's your question now. What is the name of the organ which firmly attaches seaweeds to rocks?
Sucker.
No. Kerry, possibly for a bonus point.
steam.
No, the answer is in fact the holdfast. And Kerry, you have the last question in this round on plant life along the sea coast. Your question, what is the colour of seaweed found furthest from the seashore?
Green.
No. Carl, possibly for a bonus?
Brown.
No. Neither right. It is in fact red. Now, scores eking up a little bit. De La Salle at 34 and Girls Grammar 4 points below at 30. Now we've a round called Separating Substances. The first question, of course, as usual, goes to Gregory. Gregory, your question, describe how you would separate sand and water.
You would boil away the water. Which would...
Well, the adjudicators are prepared to give you 1 point on that. The answer we were looking for strictly was filtering. Catherine, for you, how would you separate salt and water?
Evaporation.
That's right. Zoltan, how would you separate iron fillings and... iron filings, I should say. Fillings are things you have in your teeth. And sulphur.
Pass a magnet over the mixture, which will remove the iron filings.
That's right. Sally, your question. How would you separate sawdust and sand?
Don't know.
No idea. Zoltan, possibly for a bonus point?
Sieving, perhaps.
No, it's quite simple. It's a simple matter of adding water so that the sawdust floats and the sand sinks. Carl, your question. If you had a mixture of sugar and sand, how could you separate them?
Sugar and sand.
Mm-hmm.
Add water. That would cause the sugar to go into solution, and then drain off the sand at the bottom, filter it.
That's right. The sand would sink to the bottom of the container, and that's... there you go. Kerry, yours is the last question. How could you obtain pure water from a solution of sodium bicarbonate?
Evaporating.
We'll give you 1 point, says the question master, because the answer we were strictly looking for was distillation. But just to prove that bolt-on goodies are no good nowadays, we've actually lost the title, you see, under De La Salle. But De La Salle, we can tell you, they're on 39 points, and Girls Grammar on 33, after our round on separating substances. Now, the next round is a visual one, and there's a different picture for each question. It'll come up on that monitor. The round is called Cytology. Gregory, you take the first question. Again, what is the structure in the middle of this cell?
An egg.
No. Catherine, I wonder for a bonus.
Nucleus.
That's the answer we were looking for. And Catherine, this is your question coming up. Identify the structures in this cell.
Genes. Chromosomes.
Yes, we've really given you 1 mark for genes, but you managed to get 2 by saying chromosomes. Zoltan, want you to identify this section.
Is it the section through an earthworm? A transverse section?
No, I wonder about a bonus from Sally. Have a look at the slide.
Is it a cell? A cell.
No, it is in fact section of a leaf. Sally, it's your question anyway now. Name the green organelles in these cells on the screen.
Chloroplasts.
That's the answer we were looking for. Carl, look at the monitor and name these cells.
These cells, yeah. Amoeba.
No. What about a bone, Kerry?
Euglena.
No. Nerve cell, in fact, was what we were looking for. And Kerry, yours is the last question in this visual round. These unicellular organisms you'll see on the screen are used in bread making. What are they?
Yeast.
Yeast is the answer we wanted. Well, let's move quickly onto a round called Simply Metals. No bonuses in this, and a quick round because we're running out of time. Gregory, give 1 property that's common to all metals.
Sulphur.
No. They conduct electricity is the answer we were looking for. Catherine, name a metal which is liquid at room temperature.
Mercury.
That's right. Zoltan, name one of the metals which react violently with water.
Sodium.
That's right. Sally, name a well-known metal which is not affected by air, water or acids.
Phosphorus.
No, gold or platinum was the answer. Carl, which metal forms the outer casing of an ordinary torch battery?
The outer casing. Tin.
No, zinc is the answer. Kerry, finally for you, name one of the metals contained in solder.
Sodium.
No, tin or lead was the answer. Didn't do too well in that last round, but it brings us to the end of the quiz. Just managed to squeeze it in. And looking at the scoreboard, a very close finish, because girls' grammar succeeded in scoring 42 points to De La Salle's 41. Only 1 point in it. Well, that's the end of the contest. Well done to girls' grammar from Guernsey. We'll see them again in, of course, 3 weeks' time in the final. But the gallant losers will be back too in the playoff for third place. So that's it for this evening. Do join us again next week when the Guernsey Ladies College will play Victoria College from Jersey in the second semi-final. But for now, from the studio, good night.